So at any given time, we're in over 20 Shopify stores and 40 ad accounts. When I see brands doing things right, but still not scaling, there's a common thread I notice. Often they have all the foundational tactics in place. They have UGC, people doing unboxing videos, social proof ads, even an irresistible offer. However, despite the foundations, things are still stuck and stalled. It's because they're missing this one thing. It's what I call thesis-based marketing. Most brands are naturally good at tactics-based marketing. Getting images and video ads up, using hooks, following copywriting frameworks, hiring creators, mentioning the number of reviews they have, telling people how fast their shipping times are, having a clean and aesthetic website. The problem is that tactics-based marketing on its own is only half the story. For it to light up and scale, it must be paired with thesis-based marketing. Every book that's ever gotten popular in the nonfiction space has a thesis. Atomic Habits, as an example. Small habits done daily are more effective than big motivation-driven habits that fizzle out. With Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the poor work for money and the rich make money work for them. The Millionaire Next Door. Most millionaires don't look rich because wealth comes from frugality and disciplined financial habits. The 4-Hour Workweek. You don't have to wait until retirement. You can use lifestyle design to create a life of freedom and income right now by rejecting the traditional beliefs. How to win friends and influence people. Success in life comes down to mastering human relationships through empathy and influence. If these books, which have all sold millions of copies, did not have a thesis, they would just be paper with words printed on top. They would be ink on top of paper, which is a commodity that you can buy for $2 a pack for 100 sheets. And this is how many brands that are stalled out tend to operate. They operate like a book made of words that isn't saying anything meaningful. The tactics are there, right? The video ads, the hooks, the UGC, all of that is there, but the thesis is missing. The thesis is what makes people pay attention. It's what turns the widgets you're selling into meaning for your customer. It's what people buy into first. So the next natural step is to buy your product. Next up, we have the most common reason ads don't scale. And in here, I talk about and make the distinction between presenting versus marketing. Because oftentimes what I'll do is I'll see brands think they are marketing when really they're just presenting. The most common reason ads don't scale is that brands confuse presenting their product with marketing their product, but they are not the same thing. Presentation is what happens when someone's already leaning in. It's the product details, the price, the features, the trusted by 10,000 happy customers, the guarantee ships in 2 business days, now in 5 colors, as seen on Shark Tank. Or what we commonly see, which is just a plain old photo of the product image from the website listing. It's the stuff that's typically at the bottom of the funnel. The mistake is thinking that's where compelling the consumer starts, because it's not. Marketing is what makes someone lean into begin with. It's not what the product is. It's why it matters in a way they haven't quite heard before. Marketing is when you position your product to feel like the only one of its kind, even if it's technically one of many. That's the job of your $1 million thesis. It doesn't just make your product look different. They make it inevitable to buy. Presentation says, here is what it is. Marketing, on the other hand, makes the consumer say, I need this. Imagine walking up to a stranger and saying, hey, I'm funny, I'm loyal, I'm employed and emotionally available. Want to go on a date. Technically, you're presenting all the right attributes, but it doesn't land, right? Because there's no context. There's no spark. There's no pull. There's no desire built up. This is what most presentation ads and marketing looks like. And I say marketing, quote unquote. Now imagine a different version. You're sitting next to someone at a dinner party. You share a story that makes them laugh. You ask a question that makes them feel seen. There's a moment of connection. Suddenly, the idea of spending more time with you is not a pitch, it's a pull. And that's marketing. It's not presenting. It's the energy before the ask even comes, before there's ever a call to action. It's the moment someone goes from a stranger to then going to tell me more. And you don't have to choose between presenting and marketing, but you can remember that presenting works a lot better together with marketing. And the foundation of marketing is having a thesis. Which brings us to the fact that I'd rather be the idiot in the Ferrari. And this is all about using the right vehicle, because there is a race right now that you are actually involved in. So there's a race, the idiot in the Ferrari versus Einstein on a bike. And this comes from a distant mentor of mine. I love this metaphor. The idiot has no credentials. He's got no skills. He's got no real understanding of what he's even doing. But in the race, he's flying past in a Ferrari. Meanwhile, Einstein, he's on a bike. He's got perfect posture. He's pedaling hard. He's doing everything right, and he's losing. And it shouldn't be this way, but it is. The idiot has a better vehicle. And in marketing and scaling, that's what actually matters. The Ferrari in this metaphor is the thesis. It's the big idea. It's a unique perspective that shifts how people see things. It's what turns a simple product into more than just a product, into a movement. It's what makes average marketing move fast because it feels new. And most people miss it entirely. They think the brand is winning because of design or tactics. And that to me is mostly a misattribution. It's the reframe that underlies the big idea and the thesis that powers everything. It's a new lens, a different way of seeing what used to be obvious. As an example with Apple, most people thought technology was cold, complex, and technical before them, way back in the day. And Apple has reframed it to where technology should feel human, even magical, because it does feel like that when you use Apple products. They didn't just sell computers. They changed how people feel about using them. Patagonia, as another example. Most people thought buying clothes was just a consumer act, right? Fairly utilitarian. I need clothes, I buy clothes. But Patagonia has reframed it for them in their world, where buying is not just buying and consuming. Buying is activism. Every purchase is a vote. The jacket that you end up buying from them isn't just gear. It's an environmental stance. Jolie, that sells shower head filters. People assume that bad skin was caused by products that you're using on your skin or genetics. And Jolie reframes it. Your shower water is a hidden enemy of your skin and your hair that's actually causing the damage. The problem wasn't your moisturizer, it's your plumbing. And all of the above with Apple, Patagonia, Jolie, these aren't just messages, they're reframes. And reframes are how you swap the bike for the Ferrari. Because without one, you can be Einstein, you can be smarter, you can be more ethical, you can be more hardworking, you can even be more correct when it comes to the facts that you're stating. And you can still fall behind. Because tactics without a thesis is like legs without an engine. They'll move, but not as fast relative to an engine and not as far. And the part that really stings is that this isn't just about Einstein and the idiot. It's about all of us. Right? It's about me. It's about you. There are two versions of you in your current race. One of them is the Einstein version, and the other one is the idiot in the Ferrari. Einstein is careful. He's skilled. He's meticulous. He's working late. He's optimizing every single piece. He's pedaling with perfect form. And the other version of you is half as smart as Einstein, but moving twice as fast because they chose to say something differently that cut through the noise in the market, because they picked a message that clicked instantly with the market, because they chose a thesis instead of tinkering with tactics. And because ultimately the market rewards us for having a thesis, not because it's fair, because it's the fastest thing that actually works. You can be brilliant and still lose. You can be right and still lose. You can master every tactic and still lose. If your marketing doesn't have a thesis, you're Einstein on a bike, and the idiot in the Ferrari will beat you all day long. Not because he's better, but because he used the right vehicle. And the thesis of what I'm saying here is that we get to choose the vehicle we use. We can choose to go without the Ferrari if we want and know that it's going to be a lot more work and we're going to move a lot slower. Or we can be very intentional with saying, how am I going to draw up my Ferrari and infuse it into my marketing and messaging? Which leads us to the concept of turning commodities into conversions. And the message that I want to get across with this one is, don't compete on what your product is. Instead, win on what it means. Most entrepreneurs compete on performance. The great ones compete on perception. Let that sink in and really reflect on the greatest entrepreneurs you've seen and how true this is. The clearest way I know to turn commodities into conversions is to lean into perspective. It's a theme of the day. Primarily having a thesis that influences all your marketing messaging. A thesis gives shape to your product. It gives the customer language to believe in, and it gives your brand resilience when competitors come flooding in. You can think of your thesis like a lens. Two people can look at the same object, but the one with the right lens sees something entirely different and far more valuable. And your job as the entrepreneur, the marketer, the growth person is being responsible for scaling your brand, which means designing the right lens for consumers to look through. And here are some examples below. With Jones Road Beauty, they do over $100 million a year. What you can see here is pulled from their website. We believe that makeup should enhance your skin, not cover it up. The commodity that they compete on is wax-based balms, castor oil, jojoba seed oil, etc., etc. Raw materials and raw ingredients that go into most or a lot of makeup products. The thesis, though, that they compete with, right, not the commodity, but the thesis is that makeup should enhance your face, not cover it up. Suddenly, the product isn't just clean makeup. It's a rebellion against heavy filters, full coverage, and overdone beauty standards. Hexclad, another example. See if we can make this bigger. That's why we decided to reinvent premium cookware. Hexclad's patented hybrid cookware brings together the performance of stainless steel, the durability of cast iron, and the convenience of nonstick. The result is cookware that performs to Michelin chef standards with the cleanup convenience you need at home. Now you can unleash your potential in the kitchen without limits. The commodity they compete on is pretty obvious. Non-stick cooking pans with a layer of stainless steel on top in a hexagon pattern. The thesis they compete on, however, is that you don't need to choose between convenience and performance like we used to think. You can have both through their hybrid pans, a combo of non-stick and stainless steel. The idea turns a shiny piece of cookware into a category of one, and they resolved a hidden tension people didn't know they were allowed to challenge, especially home cooks, because the narrative and the story that was out there for a very long time was, I either go with cast iron, I go with a copper pan, I go with stainless steel, or I go with nonstick, right? You'd have to choose between these options. And as we know with stuff like cast iron, it is higher maintenance. Some people love it. Some people find that there's an art and appreciation for using cast iron, but other people find that it's too much work, right? And to have the ability to cook as if you were on cast iron while enjoying the convenience of nonstick is a thesis that gets a lot of attention. Dad Gang, who's doing 10 million bucks a year with a team of 3 and some help with their 3PL and likely some agencies. When we started Dad Gang, it was just a simple idea that stemmed from a text thread. Not only did we set out to make hats, but we set out to change the way fatherhood was looked at. We got sick of the corny dad jokes, mowing the lawn, ugly sneakers, and everything else about fatherhood that you see on social media. Being a dad is so much more than the funny stuff. Being a dad requires strength, community, and support. The commodity they compete on, A-frame baseball hats with prints on them. Let me show you, right? These hats you can get from a manufacturer just like they do. At the ground level, it's commodity. But the thesis they compete with is that dads deserve better than the dad joke stuff you find on Etsy. They aren't just selling hats, they're selling dignity. They're selling identity. They're selling a cool factor for a forgotten segment of men. And that's a movement that is actually disguised as merchandise. And if we're honest about the vast majority of e-com products, even from the high scale brands doing over 100 million bucks a year, at the most foundational level, they're commodities because knockoffs are rampant and they give the consumer options to choose from within months of the original being on the market. Materials can be copied. Features can be reverse engineered. Factories that they're getting these widgets manufactured at can be shared. And the question we have to ask is, what's harder to copy, right? Is it the widget or a worldview, a thesis? Because the thesis is the moat. It's how you rise above the sea of sameness. It's what turns a cap, a pan, or a bomb into a belief system people want to buy into. Because when a product becomes a perspective, you stop competing on what it is and start winning on what it means. And now we begin getting a little bit tactical. And we talk about contrast, why consumers don't choose you, and how contrast is the shortcut to conversions. So most people don't have a conversion problem. They have what I see as a contrast problem.